Ah, man. Me and narcotics go way back. Had some good times surfing the psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know?
Now you're speaking my language, of one of my voices in my head. After wrapping up with Edgar, I figured it was time to investigate the drug trafficking. Obviously, the racist driver thought it was Sealang.
Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well.
And Tommy wanted nothing to do with it.
Look, man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions.
And Sealang pointed in a different direction. Turned out there were more than 3 lorry drivers.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady. There's one by the statue of that king. I haven't gone near her, and I won't either.
We learned a couple things from this woman. She didn't know what she was hauling in her lorry. She figured it was better not to know. To be honest, she's probably right. But more importantly, we learned that she's not the only lady driver. She didn't know much about the other girl, but she claimed Tommy did. Time to go back and talk to him.
Hello again, my man. What's on your mind? I don't want to talk about that. Man, I was hoping it isn't going to be her. All I can say is, she isn't around here anymore. She isn't some evil drug trafficker. And I don't know where she is. A youngish woman. Gruff, but in a cool way.
What color hair?
Blue and violet. Died. It was violet when she got here. Blue before she went.
Then she may have dyed it again.
Thank God I don't know. People here call her the lady driver. She kept her name a secret. From me too. Now I see why. A friend? An acquaintance. I don't know. She was the only person in this damn jam I could talk to. She's someone I don't want to rat out to the law, okay? I didn't, man. I told you I was hoping it's not her. That she wouldn't be mixed up in it.
He still is. Hoping. It's just wishful thinking on his part, not trickery.
Damn, I don't want to... Please just let it go. Whatever she did, it can't be that bad. She's not a bad person, I know that much.
We can't just let it go. It's part of a police investigation.
That's how it always is with you, isn't it? All part of the investigation. The girl's troubled. If you hunt her down, she may not survive it. I can't have that on my conscience.
It won't come to that. We won't pursue her on this. This is information only.
I don't believe you. She's got the darkness in her. That young person's darkness when you think it's all over. And you're looking for a way out.
She shared this with you?
Yes. Which is why I don't want to snitch on her. It's snitching, man. I know what it is. I heard the rumors. I saw the other drivers looking at me strange when we talked. And she told me, too, that she's had a violent life. But I wasn't afraid of her. More like for her.
Did this violent life include drug trafficking?
Well, it looks like it did now. But we didn't talk about that. We talked about life, you know? She talked about her mind. The way it worked. The trouble it was giving her. Fuck, man. Go grill someone else with these questions, okay? There are plenty of drivers here who couldn't stand her, or were afraid of her. They'd be more than happy to rat her out.
He's right. There are other options. The raceman, for one. Push Tommy and it will break his heart and his spirit. Don't expect you to be pals.
Thank you, friend. Wow, this makes me feel like I should pick up smoking again. Would help with my rhymes, too.
Do not touch the cancer sticks. I was on my way to look at the body again, when I figured it might be beneficial to take a look at the building next to the whirling rags.
An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. An off-key melody starts playing after you ring the doorbell. Then a woman picks up the receiver.
Kuno, please stop calling here. Grown-ups don't have time for your stupid games. Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I thought you were... But the doorbell is broken, and the bookstore shouldn't even be on the list anymore, so I can't help you. Please don't call here again. Thanks.
A single beep indicates that the line has gone dead. You ring the doorbell, but no one answers. What an ominous name for a hair salon. Doesn't bode well for anyone's hair. Just seeing the words Andro Orlando gets your hackles up. Its very existence is a threat to your masculinity, to say nothing of your hair. All you hear is static, but no one answers the call. You ring the doorbell, but nothing happens. You wait for a minute or two, but all you get from the call box is silence. No one answers the call. Looks like someone has melted half the plastic off with a lighter. The doorbell doesn't work anymore. You hear static from the intercom speaker. It sounds as if someone has picked up the receiver but isn't saying anything.
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electric. Have you come to place an order?
She sounds almost antique, as if her voice was being played off an old wax cylinder. A receiver must not be working properly.
My God.
The lieutenant exchanges a look with you.
It's you. My God. I didn't think I would hear
It's a woman, and she knows you. Your heart beats faster. No, something's wrong here. Are you sure she's talking to you?
Michelle, just please. Why did you even call? I don't understand. You've been gone for months. I thought you didn't care. Ever since I came to work here, it's been different. As if my mind's been wiped clean.
A spot of static overrides her words. When she speaks again, it sounds like she's submerged.
It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to finally forget.
She sounds like she's about to cry. She doesn't answer. Silence. The only thing you can hear now is static and waves washing ashore on the bay. Another seagull passes by. It's getting cold standing here, staring at the silent call box.
It must have been some kind of faulty wiring. We should maybe stop playing with this doorbell. It looks ancient.
Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Like that whole conversation had only taken place in my head. Somehow her voice sounded like it was in the clouds and underwater at the same time. And Kim mentioning that I should stop playing with it. It's like he didn't hear the voice on the other side. Maybe it wasn't there. Oh, and as for inspecting the body, that didn't go so great.
The smell is repulsive. It pushes in from your mouth, more instant and more familiar than anything you'd expected, more fever than odor. It fills your mind, flushing you from within. Too late. It's impossible to keep in. Your body curls and pushes it out, burst by burst. Until a pool of vomit lies under your feet, and your throat stings from the stomach acid.
It's okay. Happens to everyone. Keep it. The hangover is clearly making this worse for you. You could use some ammonia to clear your head. If you can handle the headache, some officers use it to deal with cadaverine odor. There's the fruit nearby. Maybe they have some in their apothecary. If they don't... There's a greenhouse here, and a gardener with a wheelbarrow on the corner of the Whirling in rags. If she works here, she might have something for the smell.
As a matter of fact, she did have some ammonia, but I still had no way of getting the body down, so I'd be pocketing that for later on. The day was almost over, and it was almost time to turn in. The Whirling was packed, more than the day, surprisingly. Lights were on, music was playing, people were everywhere, and there was alcohol. Delicious, delicious alcohol.
That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? Attaboy. It's coming back to him. You had your mesolimbic reward pathway worried there, not thinking about drinking all that time. It was like you weren't yourself. Maybe you haven't turned out well for your drinking. Have you thought about that? Get a goddamn rum and lemonade to yourself, boy. Or better yet, lick that stain off the counter. What happened, man? You used to be cool. Go get your boring normal person drink then. Get your drink on and your act together.
I did have some dignity left, and something delicious in my pockets.
Well, hello. Someone seems to have found himself a bottle of alcohol. Here's where the magic happens. Light reflects off the green glass of the Commodore Red. The gods have been generous. Better pop it open before they change their minds. Wow, the gods of mass production have made this alcohol container laughably easy to open. A child could have done it. There's a satisfying pop as the cork jumps out, and the hair on your back rises like an army at attention. You've been here before. Welcome back, detective. You're home now. A golden sun melts down your throat, its rays filling your nostrils with sunshine. Your stomach melts from it into a happy, gooey mess. So does your mind. All the bad things are melting. You're you again. A real cop. A real detective. Incredibly well done.
I barely chose to take that drink. It was more so muscle memory than anything. Nobody chooses to be an alcoholic. Rather, they choose to put something in their body that will make their day less painful. Not to sound overly dramatic, but life is pain. So taking something to make the experience a little more bearable and risking the consequences later on. I know full well the consequences it could have, but I just can't help myself. The Whirling kitchen had opened up, and there wasn't much interesting in there, but there was one thing. The door. I don't know why this door intrigues me the way that it does. Spoiler for my little tale, but I never got into it. It piques my curiosity to this day, like an itch that may never be scratched.
You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. It's painted blue. You immediately feel drawn to the color. Blue is for mystery. The door does not budge.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads? Eccentric. But okay, I suppose we could look into it. As a side investigation.
He's not bothered by your eccentricity. He seems genuinely intrigued himself.
Gart is the person to ask about this. The cafeteria manager.
The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side.
We all know Gart loves some chit-chat with me. Let's see what he has to say about it.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh, yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just a frit warehouse, probably. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
I decided to do a little bit of paperwork before heading to bed. Found myself a nice table upstairs. And maybe it was the Commodore Red making me see things, but it seemed like Kim found his way inside the table. I chose to have a look at the envelope that Claire had given me.
You take the legal documents out of the envelope, a 12 to 40 month construction period, and the zoning plan in the addendum. The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall.
I'm no property lawyer, but it looks fine. I like the print size. They're not selling or leasing anything. It's not a perfect solution, but...
There doesn't seem to be anything of interest here. No fine print. You're smart. You can read.
I also read a little bit of a communist manifesto. It was interesting, but not interesting enough to share.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street. We'll figure something out.
Though he finds this situation frustrating, he is doing his best to not make you feel any worse than you already do.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your business.
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and...
He shrinks back a bit under the lieutenant's severe gaze.
I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Good luck trying to use it. All the locks have an electronic component. They have to be unlocked down here with a master key before your guest key will open the lock. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
I really didn't want to resort to this. The man is thinking.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure. Regular people just call it the cage. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat. Their silver edges sparkle in the dark.
I confiscated these 4 a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns out he was some coalition official's son and high. I took them and arrested him for driving under the influence.
I was actually quite surprised that Kim had a naughty bone in his body. This was hardly the worst thing he could have done. I was more amused than anything.
That they are. I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. He never asked for them back.
They would have just been stolen from evidence.
No, that would be silly. I don't know why I kept them. It doesn't matter. I couldn't put them on this MC anyway. A cop with spinners. That would be outrageous. Exactly.
The spinners shine so bright they reflect on the lieutenant's glasses. He doesn't say anything either. The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump a mesk banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course, I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The windfall is a small consolation.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Well? Great, thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
How hard could it be to find $1 tomorrow and not spend anything?
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically. Well, you were so hungover that you couldn't keep it down when we approached the hanged man. So we didn't even inspect the body. And there's still much to do at the crime scene too. We didn't search it thoroughly enough.
he would have put all of this more harshly, but he doesn't want you to feel completely discouraged. Probably because he's afraid that you'll just give up and keep drinking.
We are both doing our best under the circumstances. Just don't drink tonight, please. As for the interviews, we conducted an interview with Everard Clare. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however. We tried to interview the Wild Palms rep, but she asked us to do something for her first. Fine, so be it. I have a feeling Joyce knows how dangerous the situation really is. We have to get her to talk to us. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice?
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
It's impressive, especially for a man your age, and in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Rebachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Rebachol.
This information was crushing me, bit by bit. We could have a murderer dead to rights, and they could still run, because we didn't have the authority to just lock him up and give him a trial. Kim would try and convince me otherwise in a minute, rather unsuccessfully. My purpose, my job, it started to feel more and more pointless as this conversation went on.
We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station cold sleep. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up.
When power calls you, you come. But power itself is a fragile trick of perception.
We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary, even lethal. Yes. The last time was 4 years ago.
He says it matter-of-factly and moves on. He has internalized it well. It's just that. A fact. A self-contained past event.
That's an improbability. Perhaps even impossibility.
Of course you've killed people. It's somewhere down there, melting in all the drink.
Precinct 41 is known for a higher than average rate of police violence.
He's not judging you. He's respectfully acknowledging the difficulty of working in your precinct.
We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Silence. A great comment to such a conundrum. Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type. Yes. Guess what's yours? Yes, sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? Huge lack of enthusiasm going on in here. No, you don't. Come on. You'll be back to saying sorry in 2 minutes. Stop wasting time and begin the repentance. Wow. Okay. Fuck off. Maybe we were wrong about you then.
Unfortunately, we actually weren't wrong. I was just far more harsh on myself than anybody else. I couldn't think of anything else I needed to do. Finally, time to hit the bed.
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep doesn't come.